Today is Sunday, February 27th, 2022. Time is 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello, friends. Dennis Nappy II here. And here we are once again, the end of February. I'm going to share my world events predictions using a process called controlled remote viewing to see if I can look into the future and pull some predictions out or some data points out for the month of March 2022. My session was completed yesterday, February 26, 2022. Before I do that, I'm going to go through my results from last month, and I'll talk a little bit about this process and the impact it's had on me. Last month, I changed things up a little bit. I did a bit of an experiment. I took a bit of a risk so I could hone in on my feedback. I think maybe I picked a really good month to do it. Maybe I picked a really bad month to do it. I'm not sure, but um, I targeted specific dates and then specific websites that was primarily the Drudge Report to look at am I able to hone in on that specific point in time and see what the news story will be for that day. Sadly, unfortunately, the war has broken out in Russia and between Russia and Ukraine, where Ukraine has been invaded. So the daily headline I was expecting on Drudge Report has become like 15 to 20 headlines throughout the day. With that being said, I had, I feel, a lot of target contact. Sometimes my dates were spot on with certain elements of it. Sometimes I was all over the place. I'm going to go through that in just a moment, but I want to talk about what I'm going to do moving forward because I found myself becoming obsessed with checking for feedback this month, not just because I wanted to see if my remote viewing data was accurate, but also because I just got sucked in to this conflict. And I know many of us are watching this unfold as people my age and beyond have done for every conflict we've been through. It seems like we just get sucked into it. And it was really starting to affect me. And psychically, I was starting to feel that fear, that negativity. And for me, it just gets in my head and then it impacts my thought processes and the decisions that I'm making. And I thought to myself, man, I said, I know there's a lot of people that watch my world events now. And I am now contributing to that fear-based energy out there on a psychic level, to all that psychic noise that's out there. For those of you that follow me and support me, I'm so grateful. And I feel that what I asked you to do last month was to look at my data and then to check the news and watch and see if it comes true. So I'm driving you towards these news events. Maybe you'd watch it anyway, maybe you wouldn't, but I feel that I don't want to contribute to that. I feel that this is such an echo chamber for that signal of fear and negativity. I just put out a podcast addressing this and how I want to proceed moving forward, tying into what's known as the Maharishi effect and the HeartMath Institute's research to, instead of contributing to the fear and sharing the media fear stories, not that this isn't really happening, but I'm doing a couple things differently. I put together a meditation that's going to be coming up on YouTube, but right now it's in the middle of my podcast. You can find it at sixsensemedia.net. And I'm changing how I'm doing my tasking for world events. So this month, it was the same for looking into March. It's the same thing. I was targeting Drudge Report and Unknown Country. Moving forward, when I go into April, my plan is to target Unknown Country. I don't want to say exclusively, but primarily. Unknown Country is Whitley Strieber's website. I find the energy on that website to be much more grounded, much more calm, not fear-inducing, scientifically minded, open-minded, exploratory. They cover everything from the woo-woo to the scientific, just more in line with the energy that I want to be putting out there. So I still think it's pretty open in terms of a world events session. Obviously, there's some front loading there, but I think there's such a broad range of topics that could be that it's wide enough for me to target that without being too front loaded. I'll probably throw in a coast to coast target as well in there, just trying to predict maybe what they'll talk about on a particular week or a particular day. I haven't worked it all out yet, but I want to shift my focus that way. So I'm not adding to this toxicity of this negativity because I just became too obsessed with it. And I felt that that's what I was putting out there. So I want to use the research that I've been doing over the last decade, what I put into my book, and I want to put that into practice. I really do. So that's what I'm going to try. In addition to the meditation that I put out there, trying to manifest peace. I hope you'll join me. Check it out on my website. I'll have links below. And once I have the YouTube link up, I'll have that linked as well. Okay. I'm going to step off of my soapbox. I'm going to go through my data now. I'm going to go through my target contact elements quickly here because I don't want to give too much focus on this. My heart goes out to the people of Ukraine and everybody that is impacted by this conflict. It's so sad. And I'm going to do my best to focus my meditations in that area to help bring about that peace. So let me move into my data here. Okay. So here we have it, my world events feedback, February 2022, session completed January 2022. February 15th, I was targeting multiple dates here. Starting with my first one was on February 1st, and I talked about that in this last session. It was a total miss, and I didn't pull any graphics up for this whatsoever. But I had data that looked more like, let's go here. I had data that looked more like the trucker convoy in Ottawa. Once I get into my session here. Okay, that looks like a road there. Movement, junction, connection, structures, brown, urban. Road. I have even had an AOL of roadway. Life moving between vehicles on the roadway. Look at these big ones here. That looks like trucks. I said, is this military action? Maybe I'm getting Ukraine. I think that was probably front loaded from the noise. We knew it was coming. Junction or central meeting point. Long rectangular objects moving to this location. Okay, and then I had a building or a structure, and it moves on. I had Parliament, but this I'm pretty sure was the trucker convoy. It had nothing to do with Tom Brady retiring. As I'm looking at all of this, I'm just wondering if, because there's so much psychic noise right now, if it's I don't want to say impossible, but maybe for somebody at my skill level to specifically target dates with an open-ended world event session, unless I'm specifically doing one session at a time, targeting a specific day. But I'm doing one session where I'm trying to pull in 4 different events as I'm jumping through time. I think I'm just getting so much noise in there. But so I'll take that first one as a miss, but I will say that there was target contact with the trucker convoy in there. All right, here we are. February 15th was not my next one, but I'm sticking with Drudge stuff right now. February 15th was my Drudge report here. And I saw a man with his back to me facing a large crowd with his hand raised. He's wearing a blue suit. I did say it in the last session on YouTube. It was not a pinstripe suit. That's just how quickly I sketched it in. He had his hand up in the air. I had an AOL of Biden. That wasn't a correct AOL. On February 15th, this was it right here. Vladimir Putin, blue suit, hand raised as we're building towards this conflict in the Ukraine. So I'll take that as a hit. There's some other elements in there, just talking about defeated people. I mentioned coronavirus, hospital beds, depression, economic strain. The article really didn't say much about that. So is that something else I'm pulling in? I'm not sure, but I'll take that as target contact. February 27th, I was targeting that specific date for February 27th. I started within that area, and I think I have three to five stories, honestly, in there. And the reason why I say that, when you look at Drudge Report, they update it multiple times during the day. And within each update, there were 3 or 4 links in the location that I was looking for. So there's multiple stories there. I think I have multiple pieces here. Some of it I don't think has happened at this point in time. But I had this tall structure. Again, I got this New York feel because I kept getting someone with a raised hand, and it felt large. If you could see here on the right-hand side. Okay. So I thought maybe this is Statue of Liberty. It was in an AOL somewhere. And again, I had Empire State Building, and I thought, okay, New York. It's not New York, but that's what my AOL was initially. And then I came across this headline one day on Drudge. And if you look closely, what is this? This is the Motherland statue. I'm convinced that's what I was picking up on. Where is it located? Kiev, where there's a big battle taking place right now, actually. So these are 2 of the headlines here as we're building up to this big invasion that's going on. You can see it over the cityscape. I had water elements as well. You can see the water here, the water mass back there. If you look in my actual data set, I'm describing land-sea interface there as well. Here's a little bit about the motherland statue standing proudly over the Kiev skyline. And it is 340 feet tall, stainless steel Soviet motherland statue, originally intended to be even taller. Talks about the sword was cut because it was higher than the cross of the Kiev Peschalarva, a renowned Orthodox Christian monastery. All right, so there we have that. Then I had this story. I call it's the subway evacuation. Now, to pay attention to this data here, I had this long hallway and walls, and I clearly saw this horizontal rectangular sign hanging down. And then I looked at this. Now, this was as I was doing this session. At first, I thought it was like above ground outdoors. Then all of a sudden, I got hit with an AOL of a subway. And what was weird about this, I'm thinking up top, I'm going, I don't hear any voices. There's no people up here. Why? This was a really weird thing. It was empty, quiet, sullen, somber sadness, cold flowing, moving movement. And then I had train sounds and then silence and no voices. A well of fear, squeaking sound, car horn, subway, passengers. All right. And then masses of people moving in lines being funneled is what I had there. And then I come to the next slide here. And what's it say? Subway stations in Ukraine are being used as bomb shelters as thousands hide out from Russia's attacks. Ukrainians packed their bags, bundled up against the cold, and took shelter in underground subway stations after Russia's onslaught of attacks early Tuesday morning. This was on February 24th. I was targeting the 27th. This came out on the 24th. And look at this picture here. There's my sign. Oh, what did I do here? Here's the sign I drew. That rectangular sign hanging down. You can see it right here. Okay, that's what I saw. And then we move on. Here's another clip. This was from a Twitter feed here from that same article. But if you look again, there's my sign. And here, you see these trains? They're blue in color. And see the lines on them, almost looking like tiles here? Okay, I think that's what I was picking up on here. Just the trains on either side. That's what I was seeing. Then I had some bombs and smoke, which again, definitely front-loaded data. Maybe that's just me getting stuff out of my conscious mind. It didn't feel like that during the session, but I can't claim this is a hit. But here's something I drew that I came across this as well through this, all through the Drudge Report where I found it. I had this smoke here, and I just thought the way this smoke was drawn, it's real skinny and then wide at the top. This one's real skinny and wide at the top. Wind sounds. Heat, inferno, crackling sounds, white, just quiet. I didn't like it. This was a picture of Chuchyev military airfield being bombed here. Then I had this one here, another explosion. You can see I had RIP, white light, glowing, tear. And right here, obviously, that's a white light right there, and it's glowing. So my session had a lot more data in it. I'm not going to go through all that. You can go back and rewatch last month's session for February if you want to go back and revisit some of that data. Some of it I don't think has come true at this point in time. I hope that it doesn't come true. I hope the rest of it was my conscious mind imagination because I was thinking about Ukraine. But I feel that I had, speaking strictly on my remote viewing data, I think I did a pretty good job. And as a result of that, I definitely struggled to keep my ego in check. And I say that for those of you that watch that are going through as remote viewers as well. That really bothered me. I feel that I got too confident. Every once in a while you have some great sessions, and I had a couple great sessions in a row on some of the other projects I've been working on, but I feel it going to my head. I feel myself speaking about remote viewing as more of an authority than I feel I've earned the right to. And not necessarily publicly, just in general and in my thought process. And I just share this with all of you because this is my learning. This helps me to process things. Fortunately or unfortunately, I did a session the other day that I tanked, so that humbled me again a little bit. But you start getting these hits, you start getting these target contacts, and watching this war unfold and looking at my data, I just didn't like how I was feeling energetically, and it's just not how I want to feel. I look at my friends who are way more seasoned than me, and I don't, at least publicly, I don't see the feelings that I've had inside. I feel like they handle it better, and I'm sure that will come with time. But it's something that I'm working on, is a sense of humility. So I like to highlight my hits and my target contact. I mean, that's certainly an exciting thing, but there's more to this. I'm in this for different reasons than to fuel my own ego to draw a sketch of something. So I just wanted to express that to all of you. Okay, the thing that we're waiting for now, let's take a look. Thank you if you're still with me. I know I'm on a bunch of soapboxes today, so my apologies. But let's take a look here at my session now for March. Now, again, I targeted the Drudge Report. I'm not going to do that again, at least not while this conflict is going on. But I did it for this month. And then it was the next morning I was meditating and I got this idea of how I want to change things with what I'm doing. So we're looking at, oh, and I owe you my unknown country feedback as well. So you know what? Why don't we do that? All right. Well, I'm gonna talk about unknowncountry.com real quick. Again, I just feel that the energy here is a lot calmer. Obviously, they are covering things like the Ukraine invasion, asking for the lead to war. That was on February 26th that it was out there. But they have other things, Planet Nine, Omicron, subvariants. They've only got a few of these here. Okay, unknowncountry.com. What I'm going to say is I didn't grab a screenshot of it, but on February 5th, I targeted this website. And the story that was posted, I can't remember what it was about now, but it was not about the data that I had. But when I came to, that was their homepage. When I came to their podcasts, all right. So when I came to their podcast page, I had the Tic Tac Aftermath, a world turned upside down. Okay. I'm going to click on this. And that was dated February 4th. And that was the most recent podcast posted on my February 5th targeting. So there was nothing after that as of February 5th. And this talks about Kevin Day, who was U.S. Navy operations specialist and Top Gun air intercept controller. He was the radar operator who initially detected and eventually intercepted the Nimitz Tic Tac UAPs in 2004. It's a podcast with his experience talking about that. Now, when I share my data here from my world events, where I was targeting that specific date, February 5th, let's take a look here. I had SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. I had this radar or this satellite dish catching things here, looking for information, movement, up, down, rotational. It's just describing that. I had outgoing or burst, a burn pattern, gamma ray, a star map. Now, what got me is this image here, this opening in the sky, reminded me of my data specifically from the Tic Tac Nimitz UFO remote viewing session that I did. Many of you have seen that project already with Hellfire. And then I had a guy whose job is to tell the truth, male life, driven, intelligent. He's a scientist. It's controversial. Is he trying to prove what he believes, or is what he believes proven? Looking at something in a new way. Okay, radio, telescope. And I talked about this full session there. I think that's what I was picking up on, elements of that. Again, it's not the date that I targeted, but I think this is the story through Unknown Country that I was looking at. It's focused on that man. So that's it. That's my justification for the data there. Sorry, I'm going out of order here. Looking at my world events now. Let's move on. Looking at my world events for March 2022. Okay, my subtasks. What I thought I was going to do here is March 1st, I'm looking at the Drudge Report, and I thought I was going to address how there's multiple stories on a single day with multiple headlines, and it keeps changing. So I said, viewer would describe the main story displayed in the central location on the Drudge Report on March 1st, 2022. If there's multiple stories occupying the central position, viewer will describe the first one in red. If there was no link in red, viewer will describe the top story listed in the central location. So here I am now really trying to get specific, seeing Drudges listing multiple stories in that central location. I think I'm outsmarting it, but I probably did it. So I did the same thing for the 15th and for the 25th. Same tasking, same setup. And then I also did on March 7th. I'm looking at the most recent story posted on the main page of unknowncountry.com as of March 7th, 2022. I don't think my tasking specified main page on the last one. All right, here we go. Let's look at my data here. I felt okay, lots of noise, front loaded with Ukraine news, and my back is sore. I pulled a hip flexor muscle, so I've been feeling that pain. So here I had complex, complicated machinery, square, gray, board, machine, mechanical, cylindrical, smooth, shiny. I haven't even gotten into my session yet. I had an AOL of drilling. I had this silver spinning tube structure. I had oil splashing or mud. And then I got into my session. an object, motion, energetics, contained, withheld, mechanical, machine, and AI, beeps and whistles, futuristic, techie, clicky sounds, keyboard, motion, slow moving, mechanical, large, place or location, event. I had drudge, obviously, car, sharp, sharpshooter, engine. This feels boring to me. I felt bored with this story. And I really think I'm getting a couple elements of different stories here. Mixed, tiered, leveled, political, negotiated. And I had these lines in this triangular shape here. These lines are making squeaking sounds. I wouldn't be surprised if that's front loaded, because I kept hearing like Hollywood tank sounds as they're driving through a town and the tracks are squeaking. I think that's front loaded. But here, A, I had electric, buzz, jolt. My B here, which is this triangular shape, hard movement, slow movement, felt protected. C in the outside here, atmosphere, wind sounds. And then I heard dress shoes, walking on a hard surface, multiple life forms. I wouldn't be surprised if these tank sounds I'm getting is front loaded, just imagination. But these dark shoes walking on a hard surface with multiple life forms, that felt more remote viewing. What's most interesting about this? I had Hubble 2023. I don't know why. Erroneous, falsified documents, testimony. Again, this feels boring to me. And I quick saw this image here. Male voice, calm, emaciated, dignified, carefree, charismatic, Cyrillic language. I had an AOL of Putin. Again, front loaded. This was just done yesterday as I'm looking at current events all day. So, but this felt like there's going to be an article of some kind of political discussion, maybe a negotiation. What's the important aspect of this event? Fluid motion, transitional. I felt calm about it. Is it a ruse? Can I trust this? Is that my conscious mind? I thought. Felt political. I hear a man's voice. He was smiling. Okay, what's the main purpose of this event? Foraging, search, mission, a warning, but it was very subtle. Some kind of warning was given, but that was such a subtle warning. I kept perceiving a calm person who seems carefree. There's a subtle warning given that's easy to miss. Had AOL of a rocket, and I asked myself, is this Elon Musk? Okay. Then I got magnificent sparks. This is event number 2. Okay, and this is an unknown country target here. Magnificent sparks, laser, light show. This felt much better. I liked this energy a lot better. We had life, mediocre, event horizon, complex, confused, separating, outskirts, relationships, not fully joined or connected. Again, life forms, multiple, maybe 3, male, female mix, accented, felt intelligent and calm, scientific, tiny, cold, remote, distant, bitter. And again, this date was targeting March 5th, I believe. All right. And then I had something planetary off-gassing, rotating, spinning, toroidal, energetic. Ow. And I wrote AI. Wow, this is actually important. That's my aesthetic impact. I heard a hiss sound. I've sensed life form number 2 was feminine, calm. She had long hair on her shoulders, brown, dirty blonde, smiles and waves. I like her. She's loving and compassionate and scientific. Now, I was getting a face that reminded me, if you remember the actress Elizabeth Shue. I don't think it was Elizabeth Shue, but she had a similar features to her. I'm a terrible artist, and here's my proof of it right here. It's a horrible sketch, but I just went with it. I spent about 10 minutes erasing this and redoing it. I said, I forget, I need to move on. She was calm, comforted, and peaceful. Male, I heard the name Yorgi. Short black hair, waving smile, very excited, thin, 25 to 35. What's the most important aspect of this event? It feels hopeful. Something with a satellite? That's my AOL. Discovery or intervention that feels positive. Is it environmental? I like this. It won't get the press it deserves. And I felt plants and Cleve Baxter, just dealing with energy. Describe the most interesting aspect of this event. I had gain of function. I don't know what that's about. Oh, function research, operational, potential. We can do this. But then I heard, but they won't. It's dead in the water project. This makes me sad and frustrated, but it can be done. And then I had to take a break. There was just so much noise. I kept thinking about Ukraine. So I came back to it and I revisited. Oh, wow. Looks like I put the wrong number down here, but 0301, that's for Drudge Report on the 1st. Life, tight, restricted access, deniability, reluctance, resilience, fragility, frugality, futility, awaken, basin, tight, pressure, emotional stress, colleagues. And then I had this octagon, pentagonal, circuit, chip, depth, flexible, fragile, suspended or suspendable, Sharp, tiny hairs, silver metallic. This looked like some kind of microchip in a free-floating liquid gelatinous substance. And it had lots of crowds pushing, barricade, blockade, violence, resistance, urge. Men were angry and screaming. I had borders, a crisis at the borders. Again, we could say that's front-loaded. You expect that to happen, but this is the data I was getting. I had energetics, wide expanding, open, slow, low sound. I had a life. He was male. He was young. He was transformative. Was he English? Was he British? That's longevity that I wrote there. Movement, transport, tiered, supportive, longitudinal. Again, movement, slow, rolling, barrage. I felt good here. Object or structure moving. Felt land-based, but also felt like it has an aerial component. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm getting multiple stories here. It was just so noisy. It was hard to hone in on one thing. As if this vehicle has land and launch capabilities. This was weird. And there it is here. So the centerpiece felt like it shot up in the air. Are we going to see some kind of new tech is what I'm asking here. Structure, hard, bendable, movable, squeaky, trajectory. Again, I had a track vehicle. The most important aspect of this event, and I had this sketch here, reminded me of one of the Star Wars TIE fighters. Hard, flexible, movable folds and collapses inside. So that what I'm talking about here is this vertical rectangle here folds. It goes from this, folds into this, and then folds inside the tube towards the sphere. And then I got this hollow glass computer brain, almost like this spider type of robot. This is weird stuff, man. Technical, technological, protective casing. I had robotics warfare. Are we going to see a story about robotics warfare? Then I had a movement of people, bubbles, foam, non-lethal. We're going to see non-lethal weapons. Crowd sounds, surrounding, gathering, hollow thump sounds, as if as if heard from within the object, and things are being thrown at it from outside. AI, calm, safe, secure. I had an AOL of Mr. President. Life forms, crowd sounds, movement in unison, organized. I don't know what a Hadron Collider is about. Civilians, I had something with double glass doors, curved, fiberglass. This double glass door should have been an AOL. Massive people behind it. Now this starts to turn in for me. I heard crowds, I heard birds, I heard like an aircraft flying over really fast, really quick. Hollow impact sounds, like a helmet is struck. Crowd sounds. What this sounded to me is like, picture you're sitting in a car and people are throwing rocks or bottles at you. They're not breaking the windows because you have bulletproof glass or something. Mental, and I probed here this rounded shape up here, which I perceive as a person with the helmet. Mental, scared, surrounded, unharmed, captured, contained. Many life forms looking over, looking down, looking up, as if maybe somebody's on the ground. AI, I felt sadness, escape. Again, now we're moving on. Now we're at the 25th of March here. Life, agitated, contained, restrained, beliefs, rescue. Feels sickly or gross. I don't like it. Calm and tired. Peace. An event or situation that involves or impacts a male life. I heard dads describing this as if two forces or circumstances have this life contained and are pulling in opposite directions. But the more they pull apart, the more restricted the life becomes. So maybe this is some kind of political argument or people fighting over a single person negotiating or something. And the more that they try to, maybe this is a POW situation. And the more they try to negotiate, the harder it gets for this life form. All right. What's the most important aspect of this event? Energetics, flow, movement. I had an AOL of a pilot. I had a life here surrounded by multiple life forms. And I was thinking of Black Hawk Down in Somalia. That's not what this is. It just reminded me of that. Life surrounded, central authority figure. I had an AOL of Boris Johnson. I don't know why. Structure, tier, temple. All right. But somebody was surrounded by multiple life forms here. And I got this sketch. The top of it was hard and flat. There were many faces there. Open, hollow, cold. Was there death, spears, or knives? That's on the inside of this. I don't know why I had a question mark there. Masses and masses of people. Now, these people I probed are inside this structure. Life forms contained. I don't like this. This isn't good. Containment or container. Hard, thin metal sounds, wind sounds, rocking, left to right, barbaric, swaying, central life at the front, an AOL of rape. This was horrible. Okay, that's my remote viewing sessions. Now, I had two dreams that I'm going to share. in just a moment as well that felt worth noting. I feel that my sessions were pretty sloppy this month. I came into here pretty overwhelmed with all the noise. I don't feel that I was able to specifically target and isolate single stories. So I feel that I have elements of multiple stories. And I don't feel like last month I had that train, that subway story. That's pretty specific. I think that's a pretty good hit. I had the direct drawing on the correct date of Putin with his arm up. That's pretty good. This one, I'm not feeling so great about all of my data, but I think I'm back in the generalities here. But let's see as the month goes on. That's just my disclaimer there. So here's my dreams, and I had these dreams over the last few days. So they're pretty recent. I'd say February 24th and February 26th. I had these dreams, or February 23rd and February 25th, roughly. So the one dream, this concerned me. I was definitely stateside in this dream, and everybody was lighting candles and looking up at the sky. And there were, I'll say in quotations, fireworks, red and white fireworks. And then I heard everyone start to sing, "Oh, say, can you see?" I heard them singing the American national anthem. It was a very heavy, somber feeling, like we unite after 9/11 almost. I'm not saying a 9/11 event, but it had that feeling of we're uniting as a nation because something is happening. And then I had almost a flashback from the first Gulf War of my mother saying the rosary. And I got mad. People holding candles, definitely US based. That's what I'm talking about here. I got mad at the prayer of the rosary because I said to myself, and this is my own bias with spirituality and my archons writing, this is a psychic energy grab. Fear as food. Everybody's going to be so focused on this negativity and afraid and putting this energy into a common location, a common source. It's a big energy grab psychically is what I was perceiving in my dream. Then 2 days later, I had the same dream, almost the same dream. I was in a different location, but still definitely the US. It's a place familiar to me. That's how I know it was US. I'm in a backyard. I'm looking up at the sky. It was 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And these fireworks again start going off. And in my dream, I recalled the other dream. And I remember saying, "Oh my gosh, it's happening." And then I realized in my dream that it was actually fireworks, but it was some kind of deception. This corporation was putting these things up in the air to draw attention to them. I'm not sure what that means. You can interpret that what you want. This is after, I believe, some of the attacks started happening in Ukraine. So this could have just been my psyche processing, or this could be something that is predictive. I don't know, but I put it up there just to share and allow you to interpret as well. So I know I was all over the place this month. I know I got on my soapbox a little bit. I'm just trying to share, my thoughts and feelings on how remote viewing has been impacting me. I want to try to maintain my humility, and bring myself down because I feel that I was getting too confident. I want to focus on the content that I'm creating is putting out the energy I wish to align myself with, the energy I wish to amplify, which is why I highly recommend, if that interests you, listening to the podcast I just put out today. I'll have it linked below. You can find it at sixsensemedia.net. Like I said, surely I'll have the YouTube video. I'm also putting out another podcast shortly, hopefully this week, talking about the consequences, implications, and experiences of communicating with the future. This is really just the questions I have as a remote viewer and how it's impacting my life, and what I'm learning about it. And really, again, just exploring this point of growth that I'm in right now. So the journey continues, my friends. To those of you that have been a part of this, thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate it. If you're still watching, thank you for putting up with my various rants this month. I'm just trying to process everything too. And again, so I'll be sending that positive energy out there into the universe to all of you, to everyone watching this. And of course, to those people that are adversely affected by this tragedy over in Europe. So, Dennis Nappy II here. Remember to never stop questioning, keep an open mind, and let your intuition be your guide. Thank you.